Had a bunch of old wax cappings from old cutouts. Had them in tubs, and you can see it's getting nasty. Of course, some of them melted. There's some hive beetle larvae and stuff like that, but I'm still gonna go ahead and process it. You can see little chunks of wax already naturally from it just melting in the sun, like a solar wax melter. But I'm gonna go ahead and warm this up, strain it, and get another big chunk of wax, and then filter it, make it nicer later. All right, so right now what I did was I had some old frames from an old dead out that a friend had. Soaked it in some hot water, scraped all the stuff out. There's some cocoons in here, some wax moth. You can see that hive beetle larva. I mean, so we're gonna go ahead and roughly filter this. You can see this top layer is yellow. That's all wax. We're gonna filter out this gunk, let it melt down some. And then once we filter it roughly, we'll go back and start over with fresh water and use a fine mesh, some cheesecloth or something to filter it or strain it even more to be more of a yellow, clean wax. So it looks nasty, but that's just rendering. You got dead bees in here, just the old cocoons, everything. You can see if I stop, that's all wax on my hive tool and everything. It's just floating on top. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. It's not a lot, but it's something. I'd rather save whatever I can than letting it go to waste. So I'm gonna show you the next step. Is what I did was I had all the gunk in here. I used this to strain out a handful at a time. Use my hive tool to kind of squish it to press all the liquid out. And then I'd put the gunk in here, which this will dry out, and there is gonna be some wax in it. You can see the yellow tint, but this will make good fire starter. Then what I did was just pour the rest and filter it in here. The top layer is gonna be wax. Let it cool off. Tomorrow, hopefully have a little chunk. And I ran out of room, so there'll be a little chunk in here, but not much. So tomorrow I'll come back, look, see if I'll be happy if I even get a 1/4 inch of wax, which you can see the yellow ring. So we'll see how that goes and come back tomorrow and make some more with what else I got. And you can see this is just full of, that's all wax. So that comb, I wanted to show you what it looked like. It looked like this black, nasty comb. But you can see even with the sun, there's melted beeswax in here. So tomorrow I'll be rendering this down. That's just chunks of beeswax. So tomorrow I'll do that. But today I'm just gonna do this little bit and see what I could get out of it. All right, moment of truth. It's been raining, so there's a gunk from yesterday from the beeswax. Let's see how much we have in here. We got a nice little, oh yeah, that's some good beeswax right there. Look how thick that is. Clean all that later. Look at that, it's a good little thickness. Here comes the rain. All right, so this is always my favorite part as far as checking how much beeswax I was able to get out. There's ants on here because I had a pan of honey kind of just thrown on top because it was raining yesterday. So let's see how much we got. All right, still warm. Oh, that's a good chunk. Oh yeah, look how thick that is. Gotta clean the bottom some, but that's still a really good chunk of beeswax. Heck yeah, boy. Throw that right there. That was mainly from the wax cappings. The way I'm doing it, I'm doing a double broil because I don't want to burn the wax. So I have a big pot with water that I'm boiling. The wax will just sit in here. And when it melts, it'll just be pure beeswax in that pot. Though it is a little dirty, then I'll filter it when it's a liquid. Let it dry and get hard, and then I'll be able to measure everything depending on what I want to do. Remelt it to make my lip balm, remelt it to make my candles, but it'll be clean, pure beeswax. And you can see at the bottom, it's already starting to melt in there. I know it's kind of hard to see in here, but that hot water is getting it to melt. I'll be mixing this and making sure it doesn't burn and go from there. And here we're double broiling. We got the water on the outside boiling and the inside is just the clean wax. And there's a little bit left in there that needs to melt, but you can see that dirt and stuff floating in the wax. That's why we're gonna go ahead and filter it very good, very fine. We'll mix this up, get the rest of the milk, pour it in there, and then get another batch started. So the next thing I'm doing is I have a 5-gallon bucket full of cold water. I've got some hardware cloth to hold it and then some cheesecloth on top as a funnel. So then I'll pour my wax through that. It'll catch all the dirt or anything, and then just the good wax will go into the cold water. And then I'll have clean beeswax. It'll get hard, and then I'll be able to use that for my lip balm and candles. All right, buddy, so I've melted down all that wax. And like I said, I've got a filter right here. I'm just gonna pour this in the middle of it into the cold water, and it will filter out any of the debris, which is right here at the end. And I'm putting it in cold water. You can see all that dirt and stuff. I don't want any of that, so I'll let that strain through. And we'll put that through that. Let's look at that really quick. So you can see it's going to strain through here where it's dirty and clogged up. Move to the side. You will lose some wax, but as you can see, look at all this dirt in there. You got different particles, dirt, everything like that. That's dirty. And then in here I had cold water, and then the beeswax. I gotta let it cool down. But what will probably happen, I'm just gonna let this drip out. I'm sure some of it got hard as I threw it in there. Ooh, that's hot. Look at that. So I gotta let that cool down. That's burning my fingers. I'll let that cool down as a chunk of wax in there, and then I'll be able to melt that. But look at that, that's just pure wax in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do another batch, warm up, and fill this up, and then I'm gonna go to the gym, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and have a solid chunk of wax and be able to start making lip balm and candles. All right, so it's not fully dry yet, but you can see how beautiful and clean that wax is. So, see the difference once you get all that dirt out. You ain't gotta worry about that, it's super pretty and light. All right, everybody, so here's the wax after it's been dried. Let's see how she looks. It's gonna be 2 layers because I poured 2 different batches in here, but that's when the water was cold, so it made it look funny. But you could just see that is clean, beautiful wax. So that was when it was cold water and hot wax, and I just poured it in there. So it made all this as it was drying, and then of course all the water got hot and made it smooth like this. So clean wax. Right, so now we already made our mixture, and we're pouring them into the lip balm molds. What we got here?
That one? No, good actually.
Oh, yeah. Not done yet. Gotta fill them the rest of the way up, but lip balm in the middle.